Namaskar, good morning to you all. We had a charged up talk by first Varun Khosla in the beginning about the things to come, and then followed up by an exquisite, beautifully presented talk by Sri Amitabh Kant. And I'm there, and after me, there are many others who are going to follow. So there are lots of things which would be possibly same things repeated in different formats. But nevertheless, sometimes revision is very important to understand the nuances and to take it forward. I'm very delighted that the dynamic world education community has organized this program. And these very words, I was looking, dynamic. Education is dynamic. It is not going to be static. So that is dynamism involved in that. It is going to be global. That's why world. World is nothing but the entire globe is involved in that. And it's an action which entire community has to take it together. And that's another very important thing. And therefore, when we are talking about education of the future or the global citizens being created, there are lots of issues which we need to understand. And the present new national education policy, which was rolled out on 29th of July 2020, just about to complete 2 years, gives all the thoughts that are required to be put in action. And that is what is absolutely what is known as global education. Amitabh Kanji reflected in terms of setting up of not only international universities in India, Indian institutions, setting up universities abroad, how we create global citizens of tomorrow. They're all linked with each other. But few of the important factors about the new national education policy, which we all have to adopt, is number one, we have to make ourselves multidisciplinary. There is no technology, there is no process which is going to be unidisciplinary. Even a student of economics will require to do some mathematics, some computer science. A computer science student would require to know about psychology or philosophy. Without that, we cannot create holistic citizens of tomorrow who will be able to go from one place to the other place. And as pointed out by both the speakers earlier, we do not know what is going to come after 20 years. Forget 20 years. What is going to come next year, we do not know. And therefore, the job profiles are constantly changing, technologies are changing, and the pace at which these changes are happening are continuously exponential. You know, what was happening earlier in 10 years is happening in 1 year. What used to happen in 1 year is happening in 1 month. What happened in 1 month is happening next day itself. And therefore, we have to be constantly vigilant in terms of trying to know what is going to come tomorrow, be prepared for it today. And that's where lifelong learning is one of those very important concepts which has been promoted by entire education sector today, that we have to prepare students for those tasks and those types of technologies which are not existing, don't even know. That means on their own, students must be in a position to learn. Maybe they don't know on that particular day, but given a week's time, they must be able to comprehend that, understand that, and also should be in a position to make applications out of that new technology which is emerging. In the last 1 decade, we have been talking about several new technologies. For example, artificial intelligence has come to stay. We have machine learning. We have seen how robotics has played important role. In the past, we used to talk about robotics only in, say, nuclear industry or space industry, because where human beings cannot reach, we used to use them. Today, they can talk to us. They will also have tomorrow feelings like humans. And they will be able to interact with you in that domain. And therefore, robotics is moving forward. In terms of drones, we were using it a couple of years back only for filming. You know, marriage के कार्यक्रम में वो शूटिंग करने के लिए इस्तेमाल कर रहे थे, या कहीं यहाँ वहाँ सिनेमा का शूटिंग के लिए यूज कर रहे थे. लेकिन आज ड्रोन्स का यूटिलाइजेशन जो है, it is there in agriculture, it is there in healthcare, it is there in supply chain. So I think drones have come to stay, and the quantum of weight that they can carry started with some not even half a kg to today even 10 kilogram. Why that? There are also drones who can carry the patient from a given destination to the hospital. You know, these are all not imaginary things. They are all there. So I suddenly remember several things which you said that new things are coming in. The famous book by Alvin Toffler, The Future Shock. That future shock he predicted few decades later. But today, every day is a shock, something new happens. And that too, that comes from absolutely unknown circles. It's not by the scientists, not necessarily by people who have got PhDs and postdocs, but I'm seeing a high school student, a seventh, eighth grader, suddenly comes up with an innovative, out of the box idea which transforms the entire sector. And therefore, this future of learning as well as future of jobs, they're absolutely related. One thing which is common is constant learning, lifelong learning, and innovation. And therefore, several initiatives which have been undertaken in the last 4 years in India, they are giving us results. For example, we started with what is known as Smart India Hackathon about 4.5 years ago. And Honorable Prime Minister was very excited, and our students who are given challenging problem statements from government departments, from industry, from society, from educational institutions, they are given a challenge to students, and students come out with brilliant out-of-the-box ideas. Some of them are shortlisted, which are having sense, and then over a period of 36 hours, non-stop, without sleeping, they solve the problem. On one side, there is a complaint about students being not attentive in the class, that they don't even sit for 1 hour at a stretch. Within 10 minutes, they become impatient. On the other side, for 36 hours without sleeping, they can work. The industry says that they are not employable. That even after graduation, they will have to be trained, retained, skilled, upskilled, reskilled, and all those terminologies. But even a second year, third year student gives an out-of-the-box solution which even the scientists had not thought of. Whether it is ISRO's problem, DRDO's problem, Ministry of Railways problem, Health Ministry's problem, some of the solutions given in that hackathon of 36 hours have been actually implemented in practice. That means what we were missing was we were all straight-jacketed, making them to sit in the class and attend the classes and not have experiential learning. And therefore, the big ticket change which we are talking about today is that students learn more outside the classroom than inside the classroom. So maybe there are some classroom requirements are there, be it on online mode or not offline, face-to-face mode, because this is another terminology which is wrongly interpreted. Offline is off. You have to be in line and not offline. You may be in the face-to-face mode in a classroom, or in an online mode on a video you can learn from a teacher. That is theoretical aspects, principles behind that, understanding of the subject. But when it comes to application, one has to go to either a laboratory or an industry or a startup to implement what all you have learned in theory in practice. And that is what the new national education policy gives emphasis on: internships. And that is where skills are built. Vedmani Tiwari ji represents the entire skill domain, NSDC. He will speak after me. Therefore, in the new national education policy, emphasis is laid on skilling right from 6th standard. In fact, why 6th standard? It should start even before, maybe in a very informal way, but from 6th standard onwards till 12th grade, the present 6th to 12th grade, or in the future, it is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, the last 3 plus 4, 7 years, students must have taste of at least a couple of skills and get expertise in at least 1 or 2 skill sets by the time they come to their 12th grade. If that happens, I'm sure such students, when they come to higher education, be it they are doing arts, commerce, science, engineering, architecture, pharmacy, whatever domain, they will always be critical thinkers. They will have analytical ability. Their motor skills are so well developed that they will be in a position to create new products which are efficient, which are economical, which will give the entire world a very happy life, provided they are trained in that manner. And that's why skilling has been given a lot of emphasis. It also adds another value to students, that of dignity of labor, which is missing in our country. Many times we look down upon blue-collared people as someone lower, and white-collared people sitting in AC offices, someone special. And therefore, when each one of them goes through that rigor of knowing the hardship that is involved, if you go to an agriculture field on a summer day of April or May or June and sweat full day, you will understand what a farmer goes through. And that is very, very significant and important. Same is, we have a person from the armed forces. people on the border, how they really have to live in extreme cold conditions, sometimes at minus 45, 50 degrees, sometimes plus 40, 50 degrees. And when you realize all of that, that dignity of labor also gets established, respect for individuals get established, and therefore the new national education policy talks about all these values, which are our ancient values, our Indian knowledge systems. There is emphasis on that. And I'm sure the way we are going to go ahead with the new national education policy in a couple of years' time, this particular education sector of India is going to be a limelight, for the whole world. It will be a torchbearer. And I'm sure already there are many countries, including some of the European countries, whom we used to look forward to for education in terms of best possible education. I'm going to talk about Finland or some of these countries. They are looking at our policy. They said that what we also did not think is part of this policy. For example, I talked about multidisciplinary education, which is important. Along with that, we have academic bank of credits, multiple exit, multiple entry. A student who has gone into a particular stream of education, if he or she feels that this is not going well for that particular student, today they have no choice either to complete or quit without anything in hand. But in the new policy, if you have completed 1 year of education, you will get a certificate. If you have completed 2 years, maybe a diploma. If you have completed 3 years, advanced diploma. If you complete everything, 4-year program, then you get a bachelor's degree. And this is what is going to be empowering. It is not only exit, but different domain people can come in at any point. Someone has done certificate in economics can come in probably to do a diploma in psychology later. Of course, he has to or she has to do additional courses. There are lots of bridge courses which will have to be taken. And this is a question asked, if you leave someone out from the system in 1 year time and give a certificate, what would be the use of that certificate? I'm sure people have to put in their innovative skill sets in order to train the student in something additional features, thereby that certificate becomes useful. I'm just giving 1 or 2 examples that if someone has joined an engineering program, in the first year, we all know there are only common subjects, physics, chemistry, math, you have engineering graphics or engineering drawing, you have workshop practice, and maybe computer programming, 1 course. Now, with this kind of a khichdi, if someone is going out, naturally, he would not be fitting into any of the domains of job profiles, which NSDC will tell us, which are the levels to which he's acquired those skills and will be possibly be given a certificate and employable. And therefore, by looking at his what we call as capacity or interest or capability that he has shown in the first year, if you put him into additional couple of courses in that domain, for example, if he has done well in workshop, give him more training in advanced machines during those 2 summer months and give a certificate in machining, like an ITI certificate, and he will become useful for Maruti Udyog or Tata Motors. If you have found that he is doing very well in graphics, he has that sense, then give him training on AutoCAD and some of the software where you require designing tools, and then he can become useful to again some of the automobile companies or someone else where such kind of skill sets are required. If someone is found to be good in language of computer, then train him in another couple of languages, maybe Python, maybe you have web creation, web 3.0, and then he will become employable in that domain. But similarly, if a student is coming in without doing, say, physics in an engineering program from a 12th grade, why do you shut the doors on such student, but allow asking him to take additional courses of physics, because you know mathematics, you know chemistry, but you do not know enough physics, and do that. And today, in fact, in engineering, we require a lot of biology as well. Many people, when we first time did mandatory biology in the curriculum, many eyebrows were raised. Because in our 11th and 12th, we did not take biology because we wanted to come to engineering. Those who wanted to do medicine or pharmacy or something like that, they took biology. Why are you forcing us to learn now again biology? All today new innovations that are happening based on AI, based on machine learning, they're all bio-inspired. You look at even solar cells, we all know that they gather dust and therefore efficiency comes down. Can we create a surface similar to the surface of some of the skins of the animals, thereby the dust does not accumulate on those solar cells. These are all bio-inspired type of innovations which are happening day in and day out, and therefore how biology also can be integrated into engineering education. And that's where, when we say multidisciplinary, take it space technology, automobile technology. Automobile once in a, about a decade ago was considered to be a mechanical engineering product. Today, no more. It is more a computer on wheels, and it has more electronics, more computer than your gears and some of those things. The automated systems are in existence, and therefore, the things are changing so rapidly. Therefore, our curriculum has to be also designed regularly to upgrade in terms of the requirements of the industry. And therefore, when we are talking about global citizens, whether it is various types of skill sets, which Amitabh ji mentioned, it's not just hard skills, but soft skills in terms of what we say, critical thinking, analytical ability on one side, or teamwork, or what we say, that working by hand, and therefore internships, they're all becoming very, very significant and important. I'm sure if we put in all our efforts in the right direction in implementing new national education policy, which was rolled out 2 years ago, many of the facets of that did not require any new regulations. Each university, each college, each school can start adopting on its own. Of course, in certain domains, you will require some kind of a regulation to come from UGC or AICTE. We are all seized of the matter. Many of them are in the pipeline. Some of them are already announced on the websites, and your suggestions are also welcome in further improving what we have stated. And if we do all of that in the next 3 years, I'm sure Bharat will again become Vishwaguru, which is our absolute dream. And ultimately, when we do that, our whole philosophy has been always Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is, whole world must be happy. Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. So whether we develop our vaccines or whether we develop our technologies, we don't always think about making money out of that. Money is required. I'm not saying Lakshmi is also important. Saraswati and Lakshmi should go hand in hand, and that's what we have been doing. And through the new education policy, through education, we will create employable, entrepreneurial engineers, empowering the nation, improving the economy of the country. Thank you. Jai Hind.